This day in sports history. It's March 27th, and as the NCAA Tournament cranks back up today, let's remember the origin story of this great event and go back to this day in 1939 when the first edition of the tournament wrapped up. The tournament was organized by the National Association of Basketball Coaches in response to the National Invitational Tournament that had started the year before. The championship game featured the Oregon Webfoots and the Ohio State Buckeyes in the national championship game played in Evanston, Illinois. A side note, Oregon would use Webfoots and Ducks interchangeably over the years and would not officially be known as simply the Ducks until 1978. Oregon led 21-16 at the half and then pulled away in the second behind the scoring of John Dick, who scored 15. The Webfoots won 46-33 to become the first NCAA champions. So this started out as an 8-team field that also featured Brown, Wake Forest, Villanova, Oklahoma, Texas, and Utah State, starting out in two different regions. And it remained an 8-team field until 1950, when it began to expand. But if you remember from yesterday, there really was not a consensus national champ until the NCAA started playing the NIT champion. And if you recall, in 1945, there was a playoff between the NCAA and NIT champs to determine a consensus champion. And that actually started in 1943 when the NCAA tournament began encroaching on NIT territory and playing its national title games in New York's Madison Square Garden, which had been the home of the NIT since 1938. This first edition of the NCAA tournament lost about $2,500, though. But thankfully, folks realized that they had something special on their hands and decided to come back for year two in 1940. That one made money, and the National Association of Basketball Coaches turned over the running of the tournament to the NCAA, and from there it has grown into the 68-team field we know today and enjoy as March Madness. Hey, real quick, you've heard me talk a lot about the Sterling Soap Company over the past few months, and if you haven't tried out their soaps, I get it. It's not easy changing up your routine. But let me just say, if you give them a try, I'm nearly 100% certain you will have zero regrets. They carry not only bar soap, but shave soap, liquid body soap, body lotions, beard balm, lip balm, and a lot more. Plus, there are myriad scents to choose from. Their products are made with natural ingredients and scented oils, and they are committed to being environmentally conscious. And I always get a handwritten note on my packing slip, so I know it's been checked before shipping, and it's a nice little human touch in a world that seems to be going away from that. Give Sterling Soap a try today at sterlingsoap.com. Let's move ahead to 1978 and another championship game in the NCAA tournament. In this edition, it was the Kentucky Wildcats and the Duke Blue Devils. Kentucky had been the top-ranked team in the country for all but 2 weeks that season. Duke had not been ranked for most of the year, but a late-season push, winning 8 of their last 9 games, including 3 in the ACC tournament, had put the Devils in the top 10 behind guys like Mike Jaminski, Jim Spanarkel, Gene Banks, and Kenny Denard. Kentucky had some future NBA players on their roster as well, such as Jack Goose Givens, Rick Roby, and Kyle Macy. Even though Givens had led the Cats in scoring that season, with 18 points a game, Duke coach Bill Foster was more worried about Roby and started out in a 2-3 zone to nullify any advantage near the basket and daring other Wildcat players to shoot. But the zone the Devils played, with aggressive guards out front pressuring and the back line sagging in the post, left gaping holes all around in the middle, and Givens exploited them, knocking down shot after shot in the first half.
Really showing a lot of different strategies. Nice pass, and it's Givens over Jaminski. Oh, what a soft touch. Automatic from there. They'll shoot soon, though. Givens had it knocked away, controls it, and he scores it. And he's been sensational. Time for Kentucky to add to its lead. It's Givens again. Oh, my! What a good play by
Goose scored 23 in the first 20 minutes, including the final 17 of the half, to give Kentucky the 45-38 lead. Givens anticipated that Duke would change up their 2-3 zone, maybe go man-to-man or something else, but instead, Foster kept the Devils in the same 2-3 zone in the second half.
I was expecting them to change their defenses around, go to another alignment, but they stayed into that. I think they were thinking that if they brought the big man out, then that would leave Rick and Mike open and they would get the baskets on the inside. I don't know if they thought I could continue hitting, and I didn't know if I could, but I was fortunate that they kept going in, and I was just lucky that they were giving me the shots.
Givens did keep shooting and scoring. He hit 18 of 27 from the floor and finished the night with 41 points in a 94-88 win for Kentucky. It was the 5th national title for the Wildcats, and Goose Givens' 41 ranks 3rd for most points scored in a championship game. On this day just 2 years ago, Caitlin Clark had one of the most dominant performances in women's NCAA tournament history. This was an Elite Eight matchup between Clark's Iowa Hawkeyes and the Louisville Cardinals. Clark seemed to be anywhere and everywhere on the court, hitting shots.
Clark, step back three, is good! Here's Clark, guarded by Robinson. Clark firing again. Oh my! Caitlin Clark, a showstopper!
Threading passes to teammates.
Big getting ready to check in for Iowa. Clark, great feed. Warnock, she got it.
And grabbing rebounds. But mostly, she was hitting long-range threes.
Here's Clark, open in the corner. She got it.
Clark finished with a triple-double of 41 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. It was the first ever 40-point triple-double in NCAA women's tournament history, as Iowa went on to the 97-83 win to advance to their first Final Four in 30 years. On this day in 2000, Hal Sutton beat Tiger Woods in a year when that was nearly impossible to do. It was the final round of the Players' Championship, a tournament a lot of folks refer to as the 5th major because of the quality of the field. The final round had been split in two and finished on a Monday due to heavy rain and thunderstorms on Sunday. Sutton had put himself in position to win the tournament with 3 straight 69s from Thursday through Saturday to take a one-shot lead over Tiger into the final round. The two were paired up in the final group on Monday. Sutton hit several pressure shots in the final round. On the 8th hole, he flew his approach into a back bunker and had a tough lie and an awkward stance. He extricated the ball in what he later called the best shot of his life. He then rolled in the 15-foot par putt, which sent a message to the young Woods that Hal Sutton was here to play. Bring it on, young buck. They both parred the Island Green 17th and went to 18 with Sutton still clinging to that one-shot lead. Tiger led off with a 2-iron stinger to the center of the fairway, and Sutton had a decision to make. Play it safe with a 3-wood or pull the driver out and put it past Tiger. Sutton pulled the driver and laced it 20 yards past Tiger's ball, meaning that Tiger would have to hit first again. Tiger's approach was long, and it wound up in the rough behind the green. So now, Sutton knew that a shot to the middle of the green meant the victory. He had a 6-iron to the green, and after he made contact and watched it fly towards the green, he uttered one of the most memorable phrases in golf.
Be the right club. Be the right club today. Yes!
It was the right club, and he was confident he had the yardage correct. But lots of things can happen between contact with the club face and coming to rest on the green. A gust of wind could push it left. It could hit a hard spot on the green and bounce off the putting surface. And that's why Be the Right Club Today became such a memorable and now oft-repeated line by golfers of all handicaps. Sutton 2-putted for par to win by a shot, and he says wherever he goes now, he inevitably hears that line at least once a week, if not more. Be the right club today is a nice mantra we could all add to our life to get us through a tough spot. And on this day in 2006, the NFL owners voted unanimously to brand the official Wilson football used in games the Duke, after former New York Giants owner Wellington Mara. Mara had passed away the previous October, and this was a tribute to a man who impacted the game over his 60-plus years of being involved. He joined the Giants front office in 1940, took over as owner in 1959, and continued on until his death in 2006. He was nicknamed the Duke by New York players in the 40s because he had been named after the Duke of Wellington. Hey, what do you say? It's Major League Baseball's opening day. Those two beautiful words, play ball, have a way of transporting folks to the here and now and forgetting for the briefest of time what's going on outside the outfield fences. A day so perfect, every team is still in contention, and fans are full of hope that this year will be the year. Enjoy it. And maybe something that happens today will wind up on a future episode of This Dish. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. Walking into a Wild West saloon, say back in the 1800s, at some establishments, you could order a drink called tarantula juice.
Say what?
Which included strychnine and wood grain alcohol distilled from turpentine.
What did you say?
Several minutes after drinking this particular beverage, the drinker's skin would begin to tingle as though tarantulas were walking down their arms.
What?
That sensation was often followed by muscle spasms and then lockjaw. I would imagine that orderers of said drink were not allowed to put that one on their tab, and it was more of a pay up before you drink up kind of a transaction. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.